You can go to the Sea of Reeds in Egypt. Matter of fact, they said that it's close to where they believe the biblical Israelites and the Exodus would have lived. The Sea of Reeds is not a sea, it's a marsh. So it's not, we have to understand that the Red Sea was a mistranslation when it came into the King James Version. Even the Geneva Bible, which predates the King James Version of the Bible. Also, too, we said on the Red Sea, you can find a chariot from the 19th dynasty. But right next to it, you can find a toilet that has Coca-Cola in. You can go see it for yourself. Also, too, the 19th dynasty, the 19th dynasty of Egypt, when you look at the 19th dynasty of Egypt and the history that was recorded at the time, historically, the Exodus could not have taken place in the 19th dynasty. But we know for the simple fact that in the 19th dynasty, we had the Pharaoh Ramses III. Now, Ramses III, as well as Ramses III had said that he had conquered Israel in the land of Canaan. Now, the 19th dynasty was when the Exodus took place. How was this Pharaoh conquering Israel if they're already in the land of Canaan? According to the Bible, Israel didn't get conquered in the land of Canaan by the Egyptians. There's a stela, I had it written in my notes, a stela, where it says that Moravata, that's the first mention of Israel in Egyptian records, that they did mention Israel. And he says that while he was the Pharaoh, he said that he's destroying all these different nations around him, and he says that Israel is no more, his seed is perished. But when he says that this Pharaoh, Moravata, says that in Israel's telling, he says Israel is no more, his seed is perished. He basically says he's going to Israel. But when you keep reading and he's describing the nations, he says that these were nations. When he came to Israel, he said that they were just a group of nomads who lived in the desert. Because historically, the Israelites were nomads. They traveled from place to place. They only stayed and resided within Jerusalem.
Now, because you know, bro, this is the rebuttal round, the question and answer session, so this is just a recap, wrap it up, and then let Roy wrap it up, and then we'll give it the question now. Because we had 4 rounds.
So yeah, I do want you guys, since you guys to get this, it translates it from even where it says the Lord, they took out the Lord, they put Yahweh right there with the written in the Hebrew. So you'll see that it specifically says Yahweh, and sometimes it'll say El or Elohim. It's just really interchangeable. So you'll see that. So I encourage all of you to get this. Also, too, the last thing I want to say is Negro land in West Africa. They just said basically what I was saying, that the reason that historians or white men, whatever you want to say, says that those weren't Negroes is because he believed the Negro came from West Africa, not because he thought that they were Israelites. Hebrew Israel in West Africa. There were cases of Hebrews within West Africa, but if you go into read a book called I know you've probably heard It's the Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. In that book, he goes into the history that Jews, white Jews, were responsible for the slave trade in some cases. And that when they went into Africa and subjugated a bunch of African tribes, the African tribes had to convert to Judaism because their slave masters were Jewish. Just like here in America, we have to convert to Christianity because our slave masters were Christian.
Put it down, y'all.
That's in history. History won't lie. And also, okay, so I do want to say that things like Babylon and Timbuktu, where Timbuktu was a Hebrew province, Hebrews built it, but then if you go into all the records, it's already in Arabic, none of it written in Hebrew. So I understand well, I won't say theology and whatever like that, but we have to read and go into actual history, actual facts, you see what I'm saying? Not just side with the history that seems good to us, you see, or that favors us. Me, when I studied the Bible and I studied not just Egypt, but other places around West Africa, you will see that the Egyptians specifically made different, drew the people that they saw around them specifically. And in that book of, not Jewish art, but I think it's the other civilization people, they will say that Ramses conquered, had war captives and turned them into slaves, and that those were the Hebrews. Well, no, then, because of the Exodus, the Israelites did not come into Egypt as war captives. They freely came into Israel, into Egypt, according to the Bible. And also, too, when you see Nubians, look at the wall, you specifically see Nubians, you'll see them with a feather on their head, and still to this day, Nubians wear a feather on their head. So you will know that those weren't Israelites, those were Nubians. So just because we see people that were slaves in Egypt, does not specifically mean that they were the Hebrew slaves. You know, we have to understand. I'm not saying that Hebrews weren't slaves in Egypt. We have to understand which specifically they were.
Y'all, this is the recap of Brother Malachi. So he'll recap what we've been talking about. Then we'll get into the questions and answers. So, you know, let him get his recap in. Go ahead, Malachi.
All right, he's talking about the picture history of Jewish civilization, show them those war captains. We get to the book of Joshua. We went to war with the Egyptians and saved them plenty of times. And upon our saving them, they had fled from the front line. We came back into Egypt and put a lot of them to the sword. Now we started building treasure cities for Pharaoh. And they craftily put us into slavery. They was paying us, and then it was us working alongside with the Egyptians, and one by one they started sliding out craftily until you looked up and they imposed their will on us. That's why it says chained war captives, because we had went to war and saved Egypt. And they tell you in the very book of Exodus that we became a mighty and great army in Egypt. Armies fight wars. So again, you stand corrected on that. And then this right here, this Manetha Postille is on the back page. Or the second to the last page on your packet that we gave y'all, archaeological proof of Israel's existence. We got the Shalmaneser stele, came to the throne of Assyria in 859 BC and reigned in the 824 BC. He was the son of the mighty conqueror Hushapar, and the first Syrian king to go to war with Israel. And then on the very next one, it shows King Jehu bowing down. It says on each of the four sides there were 5 pounds of carvings of various kings bringing tribute to King Shalmaneser III. The second panel from the top of the openness reveals King Jehu of Israel bowing at the feet of Shalmaneser of Assyria. That's the second stela. That's the one right there in the middle, second from the left. Now if you go now, he brought up the Manetha Postille, also known as the stele or Israel stele or victory stele of Merneptah, is an inscription by the ancient Egyptian king Merneptah, reigned from 1213 to 1203, discovered by Flinders Petch in 1896 at Thebes. Brother got the book right over there. At Thebes. Hold it up, bro. That's the actual stele right there. And it says, and now housed the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, line 27. Israel is desolate. Her seed is not desolate. They don't say that they don't exist no more. Also, we got the letter from the Elephantine Papyri requesting the rebuilding of the Jewish temple at Elephantine, Egypt. Now let's go on to this, the very front page. 10 plagues accounting Egypt. Very front page, War Papyrus. It goes into it says plagues throughout the land, blood is everywhere. Torah, Exodus, chapter 7 and 20. All the waters of the river were turned to blood. War Papyrus. Men shrink from tasting human beings and thirst after water. 7 and 24. And all the Egyptians dug around the river for water to drink. They could not drink of the water of the river. And if you jump on over, it talks about the slaves that was cast out. Second page, it says, forsooth, the children of princes are dashed against the walls. 6 and 12. Forsooth, the children of princes are cast out in the streets. The prison is ruined. He who places his brother in the ground is everywhere. And then if you read it, it's a blow-by-blow detailed account, strikingly accurate to the end. Strikingly accurate. Behold, the fire is mounted up on high, as burning goes forth against the enemies of the land. 13 and 21 aces. By day in a pillar of cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go day by day. So what we did here and what this was all about was who God is God, and was the Bible plagiarized. He has not once went to his book in which the Bible was supposedly plagiarized out of. What he did was bounce around everywhere. Go into your book and show how the Bible was plagiarized out of Egypt. He has yet to prove it. He went to Psalms 120 and said something about Meshach. But see, when you're dealing with English words translated from Hebrew, you got to go into the Hebrew. It's Mawashah, a son of Japheth, and today it's Moscow. That's right there in Russia. Russia.
That's right.
Feel me? If you take your ruler from Jerusalem and go straight north, you're going to bump right into Moscow. And that's the very same piece of land that Meshach is named after. Or Mawashah, because he was trying to say that it wasn't a place. So everything he went to, from the wisdom to the Bible being stolen out of Egypt and various cultures, you have not been able to prove that not one time.
30 seconds.
Everything you went to was disproven with the Bible, and then you went everywhere else and showed you. You feel me? And again, why are the Romans writing about Christ and they bragging about putting him to death? Bragging about feeding his people to the dogs and lions and nailing them to crosses. You feel me? But these people were clearly teaching something that was totally against the way of Romans, their ideology, their Caesars, and everything.
Wait, and one thing you also said, again, we're going to get back on Africa. You also said that us bringing our Negroes didn't really prove who they were, but it was different groups of people. Now, not yet have you brought a historian out to prove this. You're only speaking out your own imagination of your heart. You ain't brought out nothing to prove anything that you said about Africa, and us not being there.